Welcome to WatchGuard Security Week in Review, a video podcast dedicated to quickly summarizing the biggest information and network security stories each week and to sharing some practical security tips along the way. I'm your host and all-around security geek, Corey Nachreiner, and this is the episode for the week starting April 27th, 2015. Let's jump right into this week's Daily Video Bites. And on Monday, I'm covering more updates to the White House email breach. Now, you probably remember this story I've covered in videos for the past couple weeks. A while back, the White House's unclassified network was breached and alleged Russian attackers gained access to these unclassified emails. Later, we learned that some of those unclassified emails included things like President Obama's schedule, and that the attack probably happened because of spear phishing emails to the State Department, and then a State Department victim's email address was used to send more spear phishing emails to the White House, which ultimately allowed the bad guys to get malware on this unclassified system. According to a New York Times article, officials are saying this breach is more significant than they first led us to believe. While the attackers did only have access to an unclassified email system on the White House network, this included emails to folks on that unclassified system that interacted with Obama. This means the threat actors inadvertently had access to Obama's replies on this unclassified network, and these replies could contain things like his schedule, email correspondence with external diplomats, comments on the latest speech he was giving, and even things about policy and sensitive information like that. And this type of attack kind of perfectly illustrates a chain of trust attack. There's situations where an attacker can't directly access his highly secure victim, in this case President Obama. But if the attacker can go after a softer target that interacts with his victim, for instance folks using this unclassified network, they can still gain significant intelligence that might help them in future attacks. So what can we learn from this White House breach? Well, first of all, it seems spear phishing is probably how the attack first got into the State Department and later the White House. So before anything, you really want to make sure your users are ready for spear phishing. These are more targeted, customized emails that get to know a victim before sending them some sort of email message that seems to pertain to them. Make sure your users are aware of this attack tactic and spend some time trying to validate emails before interacting with links or documents. On top of that, this shows the value of segmenting your network. In this case, the White House had both a classified and unclassified system. And it's important to know the attackers do not have access to Obama's email. They don't have access to his BlackBerry. They only have access to archives on this unclassified system, which might include some replies from Obama. Now, that does show you the implication of chains of trust. If you trust people on an unclassified system, you might lose some information to attackers that gain access to that. But it does show you value in segmenting your networks to make it a lot harder for attackers to really get to your encrypted system. And finally, you really need to think about email encryption in this day and age, especially for sensitive documents. Now, there's everyday emails we shoot off that may not be important, even if a bad guy gained access to them. But there are more sensitive materials that I'm sure the White House and the Pentagon and the US government do encrypt. In your business, if you share any sensitive information in email, you need to realize that it's going to go over clear text in many networks. If you send it to an outside partner, there's going to be a copy of your email sitting in someone else's network. So if something's really important to you to keep it a secret, definitely think about encrypting that email. There are systems nowadays, including ones WatchGuard sells with our XCS appliance, that can make email encryption a lot easier for you to handle. Now on Tuesday, I'm covering a zero-day WordPress vulnerability. On Tuesday, a Finnish researcher, Jouko Pyönen, released a zero-day flaw affecting WordPress. Essentially, this was a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability that takes advantage of WordPress's commenting system. By posting an overly long comment, which has to be around 65,000 characters long, a bad guy can bypass WordPress's comment sanitizing system, which allows him to post some evil JavaScript. And this, of course, can allow the attacker to do anything you could do
to on your WordPress site. Now, of course, an administrator has to view this comment in order for the stored cross-site scripting attack to trigger. But once it triggers, the attacker can basically, if he wants to, change your WordPress login and then gain full access to your WordPress site. Now, when we first heard about this on Monday, the researcher had already posted a zero-day proof of concept, and his claim was WordPress was not responding to him since 2014, so he felt he had to disclose the flaw to the public. Since then, WordPress has updated, so if you run your own WordPress blog, definitely go get that update. Now, if you use a WordPress hosted blog, you should already be safe. One final tip, there's a comment spam plugin for WordPress called AskCommit, which besides blocking comment spam, can actually stop this sort of vulnerability from actually working. So if you don't use that plugin, you might want to consider it.
On Wednesday, I'm going to share a very quick and easy tool tip. If you're a Chrome user, Google released a new tool that you might be interested in. It's called Password Alert. It's an extra Chrome extension that's designed to prevent phishing attacks. Basically, you sign into a Password Alert. It will remember an encrypted version of your password, and if it ever sees you type that into a non-Google page, it will give a warning telling you that you might have been phished and recommending you reset your Gmail or Google password. I just installed this tool myself, and it seems like a quick, easy, and especially free tool that can prevent phishing attacks. If you want to go get it, just log on to the Google extension store and search for Password Alert. And Thursday's news is a vulnerability in the tool I recommended yesterday. As you probably know, yesterday I recommended you try out Google Chrome's Password Alert. This was an extension that should help inform you if you accidentally enter your Google password into a phishing site. However, today a UK researcher has already showed a way to bypass the Password Alert tool. Essentially, he can create a Gmail phishing page and add 7 lines of JavaScript that will prevent Password Alert from warning you. So this Password Alert tool does not seem to be very effective right now. Now, chances are, as soon as Google sees this, they'll probably fix it to try to make the tool more effective, but it seems that there might be many other ways for phishers to actually bypass this tool. The researcher mentions you're better off using a password manager, many of which are better at actually detecting and preventing phishing attacks. In any case, if you did install Password Alert, you might keep it around for a while, but be sure to update your Google extension so that you get Google's fix once they release it. Friday's story covers some malware with a political agenda. Researchers at TrustWave found some variants of BDEP, which is a Trojan or botnet client that infects users, and these particular criminals are spreading this malware using something called the Angler exploit kit, basically a web exploit kit. Anyways, TrustWave has been looking at this malware, and like other botnets, it does many different things to help monetize this attack for the attackers. For instance, the attackers can use click fraud to get you to click on ads that could make them some revenue. It could steal your personal software keys and some of your information. However, one of the new things TrustWave found this new BDEP variant doing was it artificially inflated the views of a particular pro-Russian video on Dailymotion. Essentially, if you're a victim, this malware would cause you to open a video, a pro-Russian political video on the Dailymotion video network. And you wouldn't know you were running this video, but you'd be running it in the background. And this could allow the attackers to greatly increase the views and thus the popularity of this particular video on that particular network. Now, it's unclear why the attackers are doing it. They may be associated with this Russian political agenda themselves, or perhaps they're just bot herders trying to further monetize their bot. They could be selling services to other people that want to elevate the views of this particular video. In any case, it's kind of interesting that this sort of malware can be used to cause something to go viral or to affect the popularity of content out there that has political implications. So I suspect we'll probably see more of this type of activity in the future, especially as nation states are continuing to get into cyber attacks and internet attacks themselves. That's all for this week's video. I hope you found it interesting. As always, you can find our videos at blog.watchguard.com or at watchguard-security-center.com. And I recommend you check out the post associated with the video, as there's a reference section with links to all kinds of other stories. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm at SecAdapt, or you can follow WatchGuard at WatchGuardTech. And if you do want the videos early, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for these videos, since you can get them right away. Finally, I do return to the office next week, so you can be sure that I'll follow our regular video schedule. As always, thank you for watching, and here at WatchGuard, we're rooting for you.